Part of the environmental liens phase 1 search process also includes looking for AULs, or activity and usage limitations. This is Dave at titlesearch.com. And that phase 1 environmental process that environmental engineers need to follow, need to search for ownership history, a chain of title, environmental liens, and AULs. And AULs can take on a lot of different formats. One of the great examples that we discovered for an AUL was a property that was a private piece of land, but it was used as a public park. There was an entrance to the park that was free to enter, but once you're inside that park, there were different venues that had fees. For example, you could go fishing in a pond and pay a couple dollars. You could, rent a paddleboard, and you could do different things in this park. It looked like a public area, but it was actually a privately owned piece of real estate. And the operator of the real estate had different concessions where they made money by people visiting the park, and some food stations and whatnot. Well, one of the activities was, like I said, fishing, and they had a little stream that people could fish, and they stocked it with fish for the visitors. Well, at some point, the owner decided to pave over some picnic areas with cement and make a little cement pads for the picnic table so it wasn't dirty and muddy. In the course of doing that, some of the cement dust spilled into this little stream, and it was discovered by one of the local state government agencies. Actually, the Fish and Game Department discovered it. They wrote a ticket for the violation. It required a financial payment by the owner, but it also created an AUL, an activity and usage limitation, where the Fish and Game Department allowed fishing to continue, but prohibited the fish to be used for human consumption, meaning that you could catch them, but you can't eat them. So that was an AUL on that property. If that hadn't been searched for properly by the title researcher or the environmental lien search, that wouldn't have been discovered. It's not in any kind of land records. It wasn't in any kind of property records, but it was a legitimate AUL that had to be taken into account as part of that phase 1. So if you're an environmental engineer doing phase 1 research and you want to get the proper protection for your client, again, you have to do what's called AAI, all appropriate inquiries, in order to make sure that the phase 1 protects you and your client. Make sure that a good AUL search is part of that, a good environmental lien search is part of that, and the correct chain of title to the right number of years is part of that phase 1 or phase 2. If you have more questions about doing research for a phase 1, our website is titlesearch.com. You can also check out a specific website for environmental liens. Appropriately enough, it's called environmentalliens.com.